Happy Friday, everybody! My name is Rachel, and I've been away most of this week. I sincerely hope that your week was much better than mine, because mine was kind of hell between making really horrible mistakes and frustrations. So many frustrations, but it's over. It's Friday evening and the weekend has begun. So here's what I'm currently reading. For my friend Rachel's book club, we are reading A Man Called Ova by Frederick Bachman. I've kind of wanted to read this for a while because I've heard good things about it, but it's not in my usual genre, so I just hadn't picked it up. And it's insanely popular. I was like number 102 on the holds list on Overdrive, and I thought that's not gonna happen. I won't get this for a year. So I went and I got the physical copy from the library, which is only number 2 on the holds list for. Anyway, this is a story about an older man who 6 months after his wife dies, he's kind of forcibly retired. He's now home, alone, depressed, grumpy, and with little purpose in life, and I think he probably feels like he doesn't have much control over everything. He's kind of taking out his grumpiness and depression on his neighbors, and then a new family moves into the neighborhood, and their interactions with him, I think they're gonna change his life. I'm only about close to a third of the way through it, and I really like it so far, but due to its connections with my reality and what it reminds me of, I find this to be a little more sad than funny, though I think it has some real comedic moments in it. It's gonna constantly remind me of what's kind of going on in my own family. I have just started rereading The Lives of Christopher Chant by Diana Wynne Jones. I believe this is the first book chronologically in the Chrestomanci series, and I am rereading it for the 3rd time. I have been saying for a couple of years now that I'm going to reread my favorite books by Diana Wynne Jones, and I am finally starting that project now. I am only like 70 pages or so into this, and I've already had so many moments of, oh my gosh, I remember this. I haven't read this book in probably over 15 years, and I am like vividly remembering some of these things, and I'm loving it so far. Halfway through the month, I decided that I was going to join Denise's A to Z Readathon in May, which leaves me with about 2 weeks to catch up on reading 26 books for every letter of the alphabet. I'm not going to succeed, but I am having fun, and it is kind of motivating me to pick up some random things from my unread shelf. One of the things that I'm currently reading is for that, and that's Zoo City by Lauren Bucas. Obviously this is for Z. It's also one of the Clark Award winners, which is good. I'm about halfway through this and I'm really liking it. It is kind of urban fantasy. I think it's set in the South African townships, so it's got kind of a gritty ghetto feel to it, and I didn't think at first that I was gonna like it, but no, really, I've gotten into it. I read half of it in one evening, and I will hopefully finish it this evening, so I'm really enjoying it. I hope it has a good end. The A to Z Readathon is also determining what I'm going to be reading next. I have City by Clifford D. Simak, which I have read a couple of pages of, which is going to be for C, obviously, and then I thought I would knock out Q with a really big, shiny book. This is Quicksilver by Neil Stephenson, the first book in the Baroque cycle, and it's another Clark Award winner. I want to read it in May, but it's huge. I wish I could get an ebook of this, but I think the ebook is insanely expensive and it's not on Overdrive, so boo. And a couple of minutes ago, I opened my book mail. I didn't do it on camera because I don't have any patience. Also, the packages were completely sopping wet because they've been out on my porch in the rain for about 2 hours, and I was concerned that my books were wet, but they were wrapped in plastic. So I'm going to be reading Thick as Thieves by Megan Whalen Turner for T, because I don't think I've read any other book that begins with T so far this month. This is one that I mentioned in my most recent anticipated releases video. This is a Queen's Thief novel, though I don't think it has any of the characters from the other books in it, but I'm looking forward to it. The other book I got today is The Days of the Deer by Liliana Bodoc. This is translated from Spanish by Nick Keister, with Lucia Caster Arendar, so it has two translators. Some time ago, I asked on Twitter if anybody had recommendations for translated SFF works written by women, because the list I have is dominated by men, and somebody whose name I am blanking on right now recommended this to me, and I looked it up and thought, I want to read that. It's fantasy. I think it's the first in a series, and this is the only book so far that's been translated, so that's a bit sad because if I like it, I won't be able to read any of the other books, but you know, it is by a woman and it does sound pretty interesting. And that is a big enough stack of books to tide me over for the weekend, I think. I'm gonna go off and read and eat dinner now. I hope you're having a wonderful Friday and have a great weekend, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.